The Jazz's next big move has been revealed. Let's talk about it. It's the Hoops Nerd Show. All right, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel, especially if you're new here. All right, so the Utah Jazz are something like 60 days away from the regular season. Honestly, I don't know how we can get enough topics in. We've got a full August. I mean, August is more than halfway done. Utah has September coming. It's not going to be long till preseason's here. But the thing that's interesting is the Utah Jazz already have plans to make another move, and Tim McMahon may have revealed it. So ESPN released their Utah Jazz off-season review and more or less their season preview, but there was an interesting note from Tim McMahon, who covers the Jazz for ESPN, about what the Jazz have coming up as their next big move. He says finding a long-term solution at center will be a priority for the front office, but it will probably require some patience. The Jazz will keep an eye on the trade market, and at some point they'll likely use some of the draft capital acquired in the Kessler sign and trade to target his replacement. Now that's interesting wording. Using the trade capital could just simply mean drafting a center. Like if the Jazz want to just use one of the Lakers picks to draft a center, they can. Now, they don't get those picks for a few years down the road. So more than likely, if they use this capital, it will be for a trade, but they could use it eventually to draft a center if they really want to. There are a lot of centers that will eventually become available at some point. Utah just has to be careful. The benefit that the Jazz have coming into this season is, yes, they want to win games, and yes, losing Kessler hurt them in the win column a little bit in the short term. But now that Kessler's out of the picture, Utah can now make a smart decision at center. They can pick and choose what they bring in. There are some guys out there that I think fit really well with what the Jazz want to do. Maybe Jared Allen becomes available at some point. Maybe Wendell Carter Jr., someone like that on the Orlando Magic, who's extremely underrated. Someone like that could be a potential move for the Jazz. Utah just has to be careful that they don't invest too much capital at this point into the center position. They didn't want to do it with Kessler. They made a hard line on what they were going to pay. And when Kessler didn't accept it and the Lakers panicked that the Jazz might match an offer from them, they ended up making the trade. And honestly, what's incredible about the Kessler trade is Utah got twice as much for Walker Kessler than what the Cavaliers just did today for Peyton Watson. So Utah had an incredible trade. They can go out and find the right guy, and they don't have to hurry. The worst trades happen when teams are under pressure, right? When they're afraid of losing, under pressure, they have something big to lose, is when the bad trades happen. Basically what happened with the Lakers. Luka Doncic wanted the Lakers to trade for Walker Kessler. The Lakers were also planning on selling the team and wanted to have that team in place to make sure they got the offer that they ended up getting. And that put a ton of pressure on that Lakers front office, and the trade with the Jazz happened. Now, if Walker Kessler doesn't work out, then that helps out the Jazz even more. And there is a ton of pressure on Walker Kessler, not only to just perform, but also to stay healthy, which is not something he's regularly done with Utah. He has multiple seasons with multiple injuries. So, tons of pressure on them. But that, like I said, there is not a ton of pressure on the Utah Jazz to make a move. They can pick and choose a player that they want that can fit what they do. Maybe they have more of a stretch center. Maybe they have a center that is more of a hub that can pass the ball, right? Utah can pick and choose what they do and it's based off of what's available. And the best option usually reveals itself. Maybe one of these teams makes a dumb choice and Utah can take advantage. There are some dumb teams out there with some bad GMs and impatient owners, and Utah has consistently taken advantage of them. And there's no reason to think the Utah Jazz won't do it again. All right, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I will talk to you next time.